Hello students, in this today's video session we are going to learn about research process. This is the key area, the most important area which each and every researcher need to know in order to conduct the research activity. Let us get into details of it. How is marketing research actually conducted? What are the general steps in completing a research project? So as a marketing researcher, you need to, if you are in the position of a manager, you need to question how this marketing research is actually conducted and what are the steps to complete that research project. So these are the questions you need to question yourself and answer that. So the research process is similar to undertaking a journey. It is similar to undertaking a journey. For a research journey, there are two important decisions to make: what you want to find out about, or what research questions you want to find answers. I'm repeating once again. For a research journey, there are two important decisions to make: what you want to find out about, or what research questions you want to find answers to, and how to go about finding their answers. These two questions are to be answered. There are practical steps through which you must pass in your research journey in order to find answer to your research questions. The path to finding answers to your research questions constitutes research methodology. At each operational step in the research process, there you are required to choose from various methods, procedures and models of research methodology which will help you to best achieve your objectives. This is the key area where your knowledge base of research methodology plays a important role. It is important to carefully plan the research process and formally recognize the relationship between the stages. The researcher should write a formal plan for the project, including the background information and statement of objectives, which then becomes the master guide for implementing and controlling the research project. Each steps in this research process will be discussed now. So the following are the steps in research process: formulating the research problem, extensive review of literature, developing the objectives, constructing hypothesis, preparing the research design, determining sample design, collecting the data, analysis and interpretation of data, preparation of the report. So these are the sequential steps which are to be followed while conducting the marketing research or any sort of research. Let us see one by one what does each step involves. The first step, formulation of the research problem. This is the first and most crucial step in the research process. The reason is it is the main function which decide what the researcher want to do, that what the researcher is intending to find about, and the way the researcher formulate the problem determines almost every step that follows. The considerations in selecting a research problem. First, interest. In order to do the research, a research endeavor is usually time consuming and involves hardworking and possibly unforeseen problems. One should select topic of great interest to certain the required motivation. Second, magnitude. It is extremely important to select a topic that you can manage with the time and resources at your disposal. Narrow the topic to something manageable, which is specific and clear. Third, measurement of concepts. Make sure that you are clear about the indicators and measurement of concepts. Fourth, level of expertise. Here, make sure that you as a researcher have adequate knowledge of expertise for the task you are proposing, since as a researcher you need to do the work yourself. Fifth, relevance. Here, as a researcher, you are supposed to ensure that your study adds to the existing body of knowledge. It bridges the current gap and is useful in policy formulation. This will help you to sustain interest in the study. Availability of the data. Before finalizing the topic, make sure that the data is available. If the data is not available and the study is continued or pursued, then it will be difficult to continue the study, and in middle only the research work will be dropped. So it is essential to identify and select the topic where the availability of data is adequate. Seventh, ethical issues. How ethical issues can affect the study population and how ethical problems can be overcome should be thoroughly examined at the problem formulating stage. So, what are the steps involved in formulating research problem? The steps involved in formulating research problem is: first, need to identify a broad field or subject area of your interest and dissect the broad area into sub areas. Then select what is the most interesting area to you and raise research questions. Then formulate the objectives, assess the objectives, check, recheck whether these objectives are on par with the research questions and these research questions are on par with the gaps. So, as you narrow the research problem, similarly you need to decide very specifically who constitutes your study population in order to select the appropriate respondents. The second step is extensive review of literature. Once the problem is formulated, as a researcher, you should undertake extensive literature survey connected with the problem identified in step 1. This is the essential preliminary task in order to acquaint yourself with the available body of knowledge in your area of interest. This is the integral part of entire research process and makes valuable contribution to every operational step. This can be time consuming and frustrating at times, but it is also rewarding. The functions of review of literature are: it brings clarity and focus to your research problem, improve your methodology, broaden your knowledge, and contextualize your findings. Let us see this one by one in detail now. Bring clarity and focus to your research problem. The process of reviewing the literature helps you to understand the subject area better and thus helps you to conceptualize your research problem clearly and precisely. It also helps you to understand the relationship between your research problem identified and the body of knowledge in the area. Improve your methodology. The literature review tells if others have used procedures and methods similar to the ones that you are proposing, which procedures and methods have worked well for them, and what problems they have faced with them. Therefore, you will be in a better position to select the methodology that is capable of providing valid answers to your research questions. Broaden your knowledge base in your research area. Through review of literature, it ensures that you to read widely around the subject area in which you intend to conduct your research study. As you are expected to be an expert in your area, it helps to fulfill this expectation. It also helps you to understand how the findings of your study fit into the existing body of knowledge. Then contextualize your findings. How do answers to your questions compare with what others have found? What contribution have you been able to make to the existing body of knowledge? How are your findings different from those of others? For you to be able to answer these questions, you need to go back to your literature review. It is important to place your findings in the context of what is already known in the field of inquiry. The procedure for reviewing of literature is search for existing body of knowledge in the area which you are doing research, then review the literature selected, then develop the theoretical framework, and then develop the conceptual framework. This is how the review of literature is to be carried. Step 3 in research process, the formulation of objectives. Objectives are the goals which you set out to attain in your study. They inform the reader what as a researcher you want to attain through the study. It is extremely important to word them clearly and specifically. Objectives should be listed under two headings as main objectives and sub-objectives. The main objective is an overall statement of the thrust of your study. It is also a statement of the main associations and relationships that you seek to discover or establish. The sub-objectives are the specific aspects of the topic that you want to investigate within the main framework of your study. These objectives are to be numerically listed, and wording should clearly, completely, and specifically so that it can communicate to the readers what you are intending to do. Each objective should contain only one aspect of the study. Use action-oriented words or verbs when writing the objectives. The objective should start with the words such as to determine, to find out, to ascertain, to measure, to explore, etc. The wording of the objectives determine the type of research, that is whether your study is relating to descriptive research or correlational research or any experimental research, and the type of research design you need to adapt to achieve them. Example, let us see one example for descriptive studies. To describe the types of incentives provided by XYZ company to the employees. This is the descriptive study. The objective is stated as to describe. If it's the case of correlational studies, to ascertain the impact of training on employee retention. So correlation, there is a comparison between in this to ascertain the impact of training on employee retention. So here in the study they are going to study what is the impact of training when the training is provided, what is the impact on retaining that employee. So it is to ascertain. If it is relating to hypothesis testing studies, to ascertain if an increase in working hours will increase the incidence of alcohol abuse. To ascertain. Step 4. Constructing of hypothesis. As a researcher, you do not know about a phenomena, but you do have a hunch to form the basis of certain assumptions or guess. You test these by collecting information that will enable you to conclude if your hunch was right. The verification process can have one of the three outcomes. Your hunch may prove to be right, partially right, or it may be wrong. Without this process of verification, the researcher cannot conclude anything about the validity of the assumption. Hence, hypothesis is a hunch, assumption, suspicion, assertion, or an idea about a phenomenon, or about a relationship, or about a situation, or the reality or the truth of which as a researcher you don't know. A researcher calls these assumptions or hunches or hypotheses, and they become the basis of an inquiry. In most studies, The hypothesis will be based upon your own or someone else's observation. Hypothesis being clarity and focus to the research problem. What are the functions of hypothesis? The formulation of hypothesis provides the study to focus, and it tells what specific aspects of research problem to investigate. It also tells what data to collect and what not to collect. Thereby, it provides focus to the study. It provides a focus, the construction of hypothesis, enhancing objectives in the study. Hypothesis may be enabling you to add to the formulation of theory. It enables you to specifically conclude what is true or what is false. Step 5. Preparing the research design. After framing hypothesis, as a researcher, you need to prepare a research design. That is, to state the conceptual structure within which the research is being conducted. The preparation of such a design facilitates research to be as efficient as possible, yielding maximum information. The preparation of research design appropriate for a particular research problem involves the following: objectives of the research study, method of data collection to be adopted, source of information, sampling design, tool for data collection, data analysis. It may be qualitative and quantitative. So what is this? Objectives of the research study. Objectives identified to answer the research questions have to be listed, making sure that they are numbered, and statement begins with an action verb as we have discussed in the previous step. Second, methods of data collection. There are two types of data collection methods: primary data and secondary data. The primary data is the data which is being collected for the first time. The secondary data is those which have already been collected and analyzed by someone else. But however, all these can be achieved depends mainly on the research purpose. Step 6. Determining the sampling design. A sample design is a definite plan determined before any data is actually collected for obtaining a sample from a given population. As a researcher, you usually draw conclusions about the large groups by taking a sample. What is a sample? A sample is a segment of population selected to represent the population as a whole. Ideally, the sample should be representative and allow the researcher to make accurate estimates of the thoughts and behavior of the larger population. Designing of the sample calls for 3 decisions, that is, who will be surveyed, that is the sample. The researcher must determine what type of information is needed and who is the most likely to have it. Second is how many people will be surveyed, that is the sample size. Large samples give more reliable results than small samples. However, it is not necessary to sample the entire target population. Third, how should the sample be chosen? Sampling. Sample members may be chosen at random from the entire population. The probability sampling. The researcher might select who are easier to obtain information from, that is regarding non-probability sampling. The needs of the research project will determine which method is most effective. The types of samples are under probability sample, there is simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. Simple random sampling. Every member of the population has a known and equal chance of being selected is said to be simple random sample. And population which is divided into mutually exclusive groups such as age, random samples are drawn from each group of age which is bifurcated, that is stratified random sample. The population is divided into mutually exclusive groups such as blocks, and the researcher draws a sample of the group to the interview. This is cluster sampling. Non-probability samples. Convenience sample. The researcher selects the easiest population members from which to obtain information. The judgmental sample is the researcher uses his or her judgment to select population members who are good for accurate information. The quota sampling is about the researcher finds and interviews a prescribed number of people in each of several categories. Step 7 in research process. Collecting the data. Having formulated a research problem, developed a research design, constructed research instrument, and selected a sample, then you are supposed to collect the data from which you will draw inferences and conclusions for the study being carried. Depending upon your plans, you might commence interviews or mail out a questionnaire, conduct experiments, then make observations. There are several ways of collecting the appropriate data which differ considerably in the context of cost, time, and other resources at the disposal. That is, it may be through observation or through personal interview or through telephonic interview or by mailing of questionnaires or through schedules. Then, selecting a data collection method involves three decisions. Selecting a data collection involves three decisions, that is, instrument, subjects, and contact approach. Methods including questionnaire, panel discussion, interviews, etc., are relating to instrument of data collection. Subjects, the choice is between the population and sample of people who have to provide the data. Contact approach, how the data is to be collected using the chosen method of inquiry. So depending on the mode of collection of data, the part of the process can require large amounts of personnel and significant proportion of your budget. Personal and telephonic interviews may require you to use a data collection agency. Internet survey require fewer personnel, lower cost will be incurred, and can be completed in days rather than weeks or months. It is regardless of the mode of data collection. The data collection process introduces another essential element to your research project: the importance of clear and constant communication. Step 8. Analysis and interpretation of data. Data that are obtained and presented in the same form as originally collected are not useful to anyone. In order the data to be useful, it must be analyzed. The data must be edited, coded, and tabulated before performing formal analysis such as statistical tests. Analysis techniques vary and their effectiveness depends on the types of information you are collecting and the type of measurements you are using. Because they are independent on the data collection, analysis techniques should be decided before this step. The data processing operations are editing, classification, and tabulation. Editing is a process of examining the raw data collected to detect errors and omissions and to correct these when possible. Classification is a process of arranging data in groups or classes on the basis of common features. Depending on the nature of phenomena involved, classification according to the attributes, it may be descriptive such as literary, religion, etc., numerical such as height, weight, age, income, etc. Tabulation is a process of summarizing raw data and displaying the same in compact for further analysis. It is an orderly arrangement of data in columns and rows. The tabulation is essential because it conserves space and reduces explanatory and descriptive statement to a minimum. It facilitates the process of comparison. It facilitates the summation of items and the detection of errors and omissions. It provides the basis for various statistical computations. So, tabulation may also be classified as simple and complex tabulation. Simple tabulation generally results in one way tables which supply answers to questions about one feature of the data only, whereas complex tabulation usually results on two-way tables which give information about two interrelated features of the data. Three-way tables or still higher order tables, also known as manifold tables. The last step in the research process is preparation of report. The culmination of the research process is the research report. It includes a clear, accurate, and honest description of everything that has been done, and the results, conclusions, and recommendations for course of action are stated. Writing the report is the last, and for many it is the most difficult step of the research process. The report informs the world what the researcher have done, what the researcher has discovered, and what conclusions have been drawn from the findings. The report should be written in an academic style. It should not be in journalistic form. It should be formal. The report should provide the complete information the decision maker needs to understand the project. It should also be written in language that is easy to understand. It is important to find balance between completeness and conciseness. Therefore, the research report should effectively communicate the research findings. If the research report is too long or too complex, then it is not useful for managers. So, whenever the research report is prepared, it should be simple and lucid manner to understand and easy to interpret it and make use of it for decision making process.